Here are 4 simple words you can use to get more high-paying freelance clients. This is Zach from W Freelancing, and I'm going to walk you through the 4 easiest steps that you can use to massively increase the value of your service offering, raise your rates, and get more clients fast. Little side note before we jump in, this video was excerpted from our Double Your Rates toolkit. So if you want to check that out and go a bit deeper, you can check it out at dyf.link/DYRT. It includes a bunch of worksheets, ChatGPT prompts, live examples, and things to basically just automate the process of getting more high-paying clients. So without further ado, let's jump in. So first, we need to talk a bit about value and commoditization. We talk about these 2 things a lot here. So for commoditization, basically that's the biggest way that freelancers sabotage their rates. And if you're in the Charge What You're Worth email course, or if you've taken that before, you're getting a lot of stuff about commoditization. So I'll be brief because you can get everything there. Basically, a commodity is something like, we use the example of gasoline. So let's say you're on the freeway, you turn off because you need gas. There are 2 gas stations, both of them are right turns, so they're equally convenient. One of them costs twice as much as the other one. Which one are you going to pick? The gas is the same, everything's the exact same, except one costs twice as much. You pick the cheap one because they're interchangeable. That's a commodity. If the product is different or better or easier, then it's kind of moving away from being a commodity. So in this case, as it pertains to freelancing, when you go out there and you just call yourself a freelance designer or a freelance developer or a freelance writer or whatever, you're essentially defining yourself as a commodity. You're saying, I am interchangeable with anyone else who calls themselves a freelance writer or freelance developer or whatever. And so to kind of do a quick little litmus test to determine if you're currently commoditized, ask yourself, how much special sauce are you doing to do your job? Or how interchangeable are you for someone else? Like if a client wanted to fire you halfway through a project and slot someone else into your place, how hard would that be for them to do? Long term, the path to the big bucks is getting your services and pricing and positioning less attached to the tasks you do and the time you spend doing them, and more attached to the outcomes that you drive. So it's kind of like if you pay a productized service provider, I don't know, let's say a doctor. When you pay a doctor for back surgery, you're not asking that doctor to make an estimate of how long they think it'll take and charge you by the hour. They just say, yo, you want a new back? We'll do this thing and it's $10,000. And the outcome is you get a new back. You didn't ask them to tally up their time and stuff like that. So similarly, we want to charge for those outcomes. That's the path to the big bucks. But if you're in this toolkit and if you're just getting started, there's a high chance you're currently using platforms like, let's say, Upwork to get jobs. And Upwork is inherently more commoditized and inherently more attached to tasks and time. Trying to go all crazy productized, value-based pricing, all that stuff on a platform like Upwork typically won't work because the context of the platform doesn't support it. So what we're going to do in this exercise is get into the easy steps for how you can massively up the value of your services and start charging more even on platforms like Upwork. And it'll be the basis for the mega rates later. So before we dive into the 4 easy steps, let's talk about value. So we got commoditization out of the way. We know we don't want to be a commodity. Now, value. Alex Hormozi has this nifty value equation that I can never remember, but I always like to reference, which just results in me having to Google it, where he essentially has dream outcome multiplied by perceived likelihood of achievement on the top of this equation, divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. I feel like the value equation in terms of easy to digestibility could use a little bit of work. So I present you my modification to Alex's value equation, which is what I call breathing life into your services. It breaks down into this: L.I.F.E, likelier, impactful-er, faster, easier. So it's kind of like the antithesis of all of this math and division in his. So likelier. That means having a higher chance of your project being a technical success and a higher chance of it being a business success. Impactful-er. You do a better technical job at your craft than other freelancers would. Your work produces more results than the work of other freelancers would. You do additional important tasks beyond the like typical project scope that maximize the value from your primary service offering that your competitors don't do. So think like next steps kind of stuff. Faster. This can mean delivering the whole end result faster, but it can also mean earlier wins. So even if it's just a really early win that's like a small step that helps them see that you're on the way to the big win later, that counts as faster too. Easier. The client doesn't have to check your work for mistakes. They don't have to direct you. I like to think of the metaphor of a cog versus a conductor. You tell the client what you need from them in order to deliver the results rather than showing up and asking them what they want you to do. So likelier, impactfuler, faster, easier. A nifty way to remember this would be just likely impact, faster, easier. Breathing life. So with this in mind, the two best, easiest things you can do to up your value immediately are as follows. The first one is finding a way to attach your work to actual tangible results. So I'm going to be in the next video when we do the turbocharging, I'm going to be doing the example of someone who does like YouTube thumbnail design as their commoditized service offering. So in this case, attaching that to results, if you do YouTube thumbnail design, is like, I don't just design YouTube thumbnails, I design thumbnails that get more clicks by doing like A/B testing or whatever the thing is that you're going to do. The other thing you can do immediately that'll help a lot is going one step further, doing what most people don't. So in the case of YouTube thumbnails, most YouTube thumbnail designers are just designing pretty thumbnails, giving them to the client. The step further in your case would be A/B testing, writing up performance reports for the client of what's working, making tweaks to future thumbnails based on that sort of thing. So don't worry if you don't have any amazing mind-blowing ideas coming to mind yet. We'll talk about all this more in a minute. But for now, the thing to just think about, the 4 easiest steps are breathing life, likely, impact, faster, easier. How can you increase your likelihood, your impact, the speed, the ease? So that every time you're trying to think to yourself, what can I do to add value? You think likely, impact, faster, easier. This will come in handy for your website. It'll come in handy for your service offering, come in handy for everything in your whole freaking life. So there you have it. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, I'd love you to leave a comment below saying what you think of the 4 is most relevant and easy for you to implement right now. It'll help you to leave this comment because it'll help you solidify your next steps. I think it's easy to get overwhelmed by all these things. I want you to just pick one. What's one thing you can make a tweak this week that will make your service offering more valuable, more differentiated, and get you earning more immediately? If you want to get more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to check out that toolkit that this video was from, it's the WR Rates toolkit at dyf.link/DYRT. Double your rates toolkit. I don't know if that's a good domain, whatever. dyf.link/DYRT. Thanks for being here and see you in the next one.